Hey everybody, I'm going to be showing you how to complete the occupational segregation assignment. If you go to assignments, you'll see it here, upcoming assignments. I am actually going to post a Word document for you to use. It will have this chart in there, but you'll be able to save it and then fill in, kind of copy and paste your averages and then the specialties that you choose. So when I post this video, I'll make an announcement about that Word document as well. But for now, we'll start with files. We'll go to class readings. And then we'll do Changing the Face of Medicine, Chapter 4. This is the document that you need. We will download this. And then you'll need to read the whole article, but in order to do this assignment, we're going to be looking at this page right here with the bar graphs, page 67. Just kind of get that where you can see it. And when we look at this bar graph, we see that there's gray, white, and black filled lines. So each of these lines is associated with a year. So the gray is 1975, the white is 1990, and the black is 2005. And these lines, this bar graph, it's showing the percentage of females in each of these occupations throughout these 3 years. So I'll go to the Word document that I've created that you will be working off of as well. And we will split the screen on this. That way you can see everything. Okay. Zoom in a little on this. So we've already marked this off of our list. We found the reading. And so in order to do this assignment, you're going to go to this page, page 67 with the bar graph. You're going to pick 2 specialties. One of the specialties needs to have at least 30% females in the specialty within the year 2005. So here, you're going to be looking at these black boxes here, these black filled lines. So here's the 30% mark. You can choose anything from internal medicine up for your first specialty. And then on the second half of the assignment here, the other specialty you choose needs to have fewer than 30% females in the specialty in 2005. So we'll go back and we'll look at these black filled lines. And so public health down will have less than 30% within 2005. So your first specialty needs to be from internal medicine up. You can pick any of these. And then your second specialty is from public health down. You can pick any of these for your second specialty. So I think I'm going to pick, I'm going to do child psychiatry because we hit the 30% mark here. So I'll use this table, and you'll use this table as well. It'll make it a little bit easier for you. So child psychiatry is my first specialty. And then I'm going to look for something with less than 30% of females in 2005. I'll do general surgery for my second specialty. So I'll put that in my chart over here. Okay. So now I'm going to be looking at child psychiatry and general surgery. With these inside cells right here that say percent of women, you're going to go to each of these colors here. So this gray, 1975. Let's say that's about 25% in 1975. We're going to fill that into our chart. Okay, 1990. Let's say that's about 34% of women. And then 2005, that's about 45%. And you're not going to get each of these percentages perfectly right, but get as close as you can. Just eyeball it when you're putting it in your chart over here. and then we'll switch over to general surgery, which is my second specialty. In 1975, let's call that about 2% of women. Okay, in 1990, that's about 6%. And then in 2005, I'll say that's about 14%. Okay, so now you've picked 2 specialties, you've filled in your table, and now you're going to move on to the third part of this assignment, and you're going to talk about why you think these things are the way that they are. So first, in 1 to 2 paragraphs, 1 to 2 paragraphs for all of A, B, and C. First, you're going to describe the gender composition of the specialties by year. Be sure to include the percentages in your answer. So what I might do for this is I might start with A, just so I can kind of break these questions up. I would say in 1975, women made up, and obviously we have here, women made up about 25% of child psychiatrists and about 2% of general surgeons. And then I'd go on and I'd say in 1990, women made up about 34% of child psychiatrists and about 6% of general surgeons. And then finally, I would say in 2005, women made up about 45% of child psychiatrists and about 14% of general surgeons. So in general surgery, while there is a substantial increase than in previous decades, the field obviously remains male-dominated because we only have 14% of women here. Okay, and then for the second part, offer an explanation as to why we see a gender discrepancy between the 2 occupations. So in this one, I would think about things such as maybe cultural norms and stereotypes. So for example, child psychiatry is often seen in comparison to general surgery. It's often seen as more nurturing. You have to be more emotionally attuned, and it's kind of aligned with caregiving due to this keyword right here, child. So many people may show traits that are historically and socially linked to femininity who choose child psychiatry here in this first specialty. Whereas in specialty 2, general surgery, it's perceived as more technically demanding, it's high stakes, and it is somewhat associated with these traditionally masculine traits like decisiveness and authority. So one way you could think about these gender discrepancies is through cultural norms and stereotypes, and then tell me how, just like I did. Another way you could think of it is think about work-life balance and lifestyle considerations, and then obviously expand on this. So, for example, general surgery is known for long and unpredictable hours, usually intense training, and this can tend to be a barrier for those, often women, who expect to balance caregiving or family responsibilities on top of having a job. And then we see child psychiatry. This may offer a more predictable schedule and greater flexibility, so it may make it a more attractive career for those who are navigating dual roles, such as mother and employee. So think about these work-life balance and lifestyle considerations. It's also, you could think about pipeline and mentorship. So, mentors and role models. In this way, historically, women have had fewer mentors and role models in these surgical fields here. And this can sometimes discourage entry and persistence into these fields. And in contrast, the increasing number of women in child psychiatry here creates this kind of reinforcing loop. So there's more representation, and it encourages more women to enter this field, as we see here. So these are just ways to kind of think about this: cultural norms and stereotypes, work-life balance and lifestyle considerations, and then pipeline and mentorship. These are just a few ways that gender discrepancy can be explained. But when you're doing this, make sure you write out all of the ways that they differ. So don't just mention cultural norms and stereotypes. Mention how these cultural norms and stereotypes play into these career fields over here. And then finally, we ask you to offer an explanation for the change over time in the percentage of women in each of the two specialties. So, we could say for child psychiatry, obviously, it's increased over time. So this could reflect broader societal acceptance of women in medicine, and this kind of expanding view of psychiatry as a flexible and family-compatible career. Oops. Perfect. So these are just some ways or some explanations for the change over time. And then likewise in general surgery, we see changing norms around gender and leadership. We can see active efforts by professional associations to recruit and support more women to join the field. We see visibility of female surgeons and the breaking of these stereotypes of all male surgeons. And then we also see policy and institutional changes that support work-life balance and training, such as parental leave and these mentorship programs. So these are just a few examples and explanations for why we see a change over time in the increased percentage of women in both of these fields. Obviously, you're going to need to write in 1 to 2 paragraphs. So you can do these bullet points here, but at the end of the day, make sure it's in paragraph form. Make sure you're not using arrows. You're writing in full and complete sentences. This is just an example, some brainstorming, explanations as to how you can get to the bottom of why these specialties have increased over time in female leadership and career changes. So I will post this video Wednesday or Thursday, and I will also post this document. I will make an announcement when I do both of those things, and please feel free to email me or message me with any questions you have about the assignment. Dr. Morris and I will also be in class to help you with this assignment if you do have questions.